Wow, a lot of players are not happy about this title update. It's to the point where developers are getting disrespectful tweets riddled with insults. I personally think that's uncalled for, especially if you know nothing about game development. But even with my limited knowledge on the topic of game dev, this type of maintenance for a live service game is unacceptable. There's so many problems with the update, ranging from bugs and glitches to silent nerfs and finally to game crashes that have yet to be fixed. Let me tell you how I feel about all this, because for me, it's past the point of being upset. It's more so along the lines of genuinely losing motivation to post builds, but I can speak my mind all day, which is fine too, so you'll be hearing from me a lot. But a game, to me, has to have more than a few things to keep me engaged for a long period of time. And for a while, the Division had that. And honestly, I think that a lot of my gas was burnt out during the more than 2 years silence from the devs. Then out of nowhere, they appeared saying, hey, we're back. But were they? And when they came back, a lot had to be done to convince me to continue like before. Personally though, not many experiences can replace the glory days that created Identity Brand along with so many other content creators. Because as much as I want now to be hyped like before, it's not like that anymore. And I can't fake epicness. Moments where a build, once people see, literally inspires them to say things like, man, I can't wait to get off work and go home and make this. Stuff that makes you feel something. It's there. Not really, because this game has lived its life, in my opinion. And it's time for them to move on. Like, what are they doing? I understand the dev team is small, but man, how could this amount of bugs and glitching persist? And then you go and nerf the XP you can gain from floor 10 farms on the summit and supply convoys by more than half. So those aren't worth doing anymore, and that wasn't even in the patch notes. So it's a silent nerf. Did you think nobody was going to find out or something? Let me explain why this doesn't make sense. That farm, floor 10 specifically, is for hardcore players mainly. I guarantee you will not find casual players trying to get a group together and run floor 10 farms. It's not going to happen. But you cater to casual players as if the hardcore players aren't the lifeblood of the division. So why cater to an audience that in the end won't support you for the long haul? We are, after all, in our 4th year, and the expertise system didn't make it any better, because the only way to get to expertise level 20 is by literally being a hardcore player. This is why the floor 10 farm and convoys were so good. For players like me who have already played every mission so many times, why would I want to double down on that when you force me to go do other things because you nerfed the floor 10 farms and convoys? Now, the only thing to do, or the only thing that's remotely close to getting the XP like that, is by deleting your character, restarting from warlords, and accumulating the mass amount of points that way. And actually, I think that's what I'm going to start doing. It's a nice refresh at least. There's nothing else to do to get my XP or my shade points, so I'm just going to do that. And if I want to level up my expertise, that's the way I'm going to do it. But that's why floor 10 farms and convoys were so good. Reverting back to just doing regular missions is not the way. You think we like playing these same missions over and over again? We're not mindless zombies. There needs to be actual engagement, something that challenges and rewards you, and within that must be a healthy balance. Not too much grind and not too little reward. I keep telling people that a real endgame consists of something that can be played over and over again while offering many different and fun experiences. Nothing lasts forever, but at least if PvP was any good, it could hold us off better than an endless grind that doesn't challenge you. PvP in the Division 2 is very undesirable at the moment. The meta is, and has been for a while, contractors, Fox's prayer knee pads. With the addition of Spotter, Flatline, plus the expertise system being added, it's gotten even worse, and there's literally almost no way to compete if you want to run other builds against it. And it's been that way for so long, for as long as I can remember. Some may get satisfaction out of bullying kids and using builds they know will always make them win. It doesn't do anything for me though. I have zero interest in that type of mentality. I need to be challenged. A lot of my motivation for PvP came from finding counters to meta builds. And throughout my entire time up until this patch, it's worked for me. Not only did I make counters to builds that mediocre players could actually prevail with, but also alternatives that players could use instead of the meta. Now it's to the point where you can't even do that. I'm referring to PvP, by the way. In PvE, you can run almost anything and succeed. Umbra Initiative is pretty epic and others, but that's something else. And people get tired of it after a while, like I said. It's almost like they're trying really hard to just put distractions in front of our faces to hold off until they're ready to bring something else out, until they're ready to release something else. And adding the new legendary strongholds didn't do much either. First of all, most people play heroic or challenging, not legendary, and could care less about a difficulty that won't give them more than what Countdown will. And this speaks to the fact of you catering to the casual players over the hardcore players. Casual players are not going to play legendary missions, hands down. And that's what I'm talking about. You developers don't realize that this community is past the point of playing this game for the genuine pleasure of it. Maybe a small percentage are. It's more of a chore. And for people to be like, oh, I need to get to level 20 of expertise because I just need to get there for whatever reason. It's like a psychological thing that makes you feel like you have to get there or something. I don't know, it's weird. You know, developers do that in games. They do things that psychologically get you hooked. But I can't be subject to that. At the end of the day, for me, I don't expect much from them anymore, good or bad. No point getting upset about it. The game is over 4 years old. 4 years old, almost 5 years. They announced during the Ubisoft Forward, we're happy to announce that we're working on year 5 of the Division. I got hyped for a second. I thought she was going to say, oh, we're working on Division 3. Like, nah. You got your hopes up too fast, B. I thought they was going to say that, but they made an announcement as if it was like some really good news that they were working on year 5. Like, what is that for a game? What game lasts for 5 years that doesn't offer engaging and replayable content that you actually want to play, that you actually want to keep coming back and playing? I mean, think about Counter-Strike or the old school Dark Zone in the Division 1. Like stuff like that, survival, you know, Last Stand. These are things that keep people engaged for years. People still play Counter-Strike. That's insane. Why don't you take something from that or try and understand why that's happening? What's making people stay and play their game? I don't understand. It's like they're missing something. Like, what are you not understanding about that? But this game needs another installment, period. That's my opinion, at least. So as a content creator, I'm using this time to get better at what I do. Content creating in general, which is why I spend so much time on thumbnails and production quality. I'm always planning for the future because with the way things are going now, the behavior of the devs is weird. They're moving different. I don't trust it. So this is an opportunity to better prepare for if suddenly Division stops being a thing. I can't rely on this. Who knows what they're gonna do? They might decide to just pull the plug because they feel like it's not the future of Massive anymore. One of my subscribers commented and saying, oh, are they purposely trying to sabotage this game? I just don't get why it's like this. And, you know, he has a point. He has an argument. So this type of stuff that they're doing is giving me another type of inspiration to hone my craft as a content creator. So whatever happens, I'll be ready. People keep talking about this Call of Duty third person. I mean, I might give that a shot. Who knows? Switch it up a bit. It'll be a nice change up, you know what I'm saying? And you know, I can't make this personal, even though I love the franchise. To them, it's all about business. So that's how it's gotta be for me. How would I look being personally invested in this when they're not? I do still enjoy making builds because I like the creativity involved with putting certain playstyles together, but without content like PvP or something on the level of survival or last stand to challenge those builds that I make, after a while, what's the point? I'll still post because that's what I do. I'm a YouTuber. And I know that with the way things have been going, Heartland has to be close. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that if there is another installment to the Division franchise, Division 3, then nothing like this will ever happen again. PvP in video games, especially in the Division, because of its unique approach, can be a huge asset to the longevity of a game, and is why people still play the Division 1 PvP. It has mass appeal, and I just don't want them to waste an opportunity when creating one of the greatest games in history if they were to dive into the next installment. I got nothing else to say, fam. Voice your opinions down below and let everyone know what you think. I'll be looking forward to reading all of them. Be right out.